Armored Core 6, latest game in the world's greatest mech terrorist simulator series where you play as a bumbling mute named 621, following the orders of a man named who seems like he's already tired of dealing with your bullshit. You start your life getting yeeted through the stratosphere by Rubicon's angriest laser pointer, blowing up your freshly pimped out space yacht. This thing is a dickhead. Don't worry, you'll see him again later. Luckily, you're inside Optimus Prime's less useful lobotomized cousin. Your Armored Core, a mech of proportions. The starter mech is about what you expect from starting gear in a FromSoft game. You have the range capabilities of a 6-year-old armed with dad's pellet gun, shooting at Blackwater operatives. But your melee weapon makes you feel like Miyamoto Musashi, cutting down your enemies like a logging machine through the Amazon rainforest. And the shoulder missiles make you feel like a UAV over a Middle Eastern village. I mean, sure, it might be morally questionable, but hey, at least you're getting paid for it.
Oh man, I forgot I have.
Now, I want to be clear. This game is fun. Like hyper-addictive kind of fun. The type of fun the DARE program warned you about strangers offering. I'm still waiting on my free drugs, guys. The gameplay, the mechanics, the aesthetics, it all adds up to a wonderful world of war crimes that makes you want to grab your hammer and sickle. Cause these hands are rated E for everyone. But before you can unleash that inner beast on unsuspecting cannon fodder, you have to make it out of grid 135. Gives you a good introduction to the interior layout of most buildings. Rusty, tired, industrial leftovers from the fires of Ibis. Semi-open spaces make up the bulk of this game, meaning that your 56,000-pound death machine can corner camp like a kid on Adderall with an iron sight ballista. And yes, I still get PTSD from Black Ops 2. Using this in tandem with the multi-lock of the shoulder launcher makes for quite the meat grinder as you push towards the city. You're less of a combat bot and more of a sentient weed whacker with a hate boner for anything that draws breath. As you clear the launcher and land, Mr. White informs you that you crossed the border without a visa, meaning you need to commit the most American pastime possible. Fraud. What's the easiest way to steal someone's identity? Take one from an MIA John Doe. I'm sure their family won't question the random person who shows up at the barbecue asking for handouts. As you go about gallivanting through the countryside, introducing yourself to the locals and grave robbing, you'll be introduced to a new friend, the government. The PCA is kind of like a Southern family member. They're armed to the teeth and favor the shoot first and ask questions never approach to strangers, which you quickly become acquainted with as you try to steal the ID from a mercenary whom they may or may not have glassed into a literal crater. This introduction comes in the form of a massive assault helicopter, colloquially called a Russian school bus on pharmaceutical methamphetamines. With armor thicker than the Latina I saw at 24-hour fitness, I knew I was in for a challenge. Like Atlas with the world upon my shoulders, I stood once more, ready to face the challenge I've come to expect from any FromSoft game. Like most things, when you shank it with a blade made of plasma and detonate more ordnance than were used in the entire Vietnam War on its forehead, it commits to the final act of not living. R.I.P. to the big blade boy. He will be missed. As you stand above the burning wreckage of what you can now call your salvage, you get ripped to the main menu where you formally have your adoptive father change your name to Raven, but refuse to call you it. Ever. You're also introduced to Allmind, an artificial intelligence who may or may not be secretly plotting to dismantle humanity. One thing she mentions is her training sessions for mercenaries. This only stood out because of her implication of reward. Like a dog at the fence, I will trust any man, woman, child, or robot if it means I can get something for free. Once those two are finished beating you down with dialogue, you are free to, go on missions. Change the aesthetic of your mech, go on training missions, or leave the game. At this point, many gamers choose this option, hoping to save themselves from the embarrassment that comes from the sadism that is a FromSoft title. I, however, did not, for I am a masochist, and I'm into that shit. Scrolling over to the Missions tab, you find 2 assignments offered. One to clean up the leftovers in Grid 135, and the other to destroy artillery installations. Still on the high from the adrenaline of decimating a several $100 million piece of equipment, I opted to go for my own sloppy seconds. Nothing quite like a double down. In selecting either mission, you become acquainted with another system, the mission briefings. Now, while some may skip these, I watch them all the way through, every time, because I know it annoys people, and I, like a follower of corn, thrive on purified hatred and vitriol. But this also introduces you to one of the main corporations on Rubicon, the Archibus Group. And I'm ashamed to say that even as I wrote the script, I did have to spell check that 3 times. Other than introducing you to them, this mission just lets you murder more of the MTs, which are essentially smaller, less swole, small-brain mechs built for normies. Unlike the armored core augmented chads who run the risk of psychosis, paranoia, cardiac failure, stroke, and more. Cause nothing says living life on the edge like giving up your humanity and increasing your likelihood of dying tenfold. After this, you unlock my favorite place in the entire game, the part shop.
Thank you.
You want to be strong, kid? Oh, you thinking you do it through skill?
I do not.
You stupid little idiot. No! Just buy power and use it unjustly on those who don't deserve it. Capitalism truly reigns supreme.
Okay, whatever.
With the part shop unlocked and a bit of cash in your pocket, you can begin to experiment with what kind of bot you would like.
I want those arms. It's really a question of how badly I want those arms.
There are 3 main build styles. The agile, albeit fragile, lightweight, which is akin to a nest full of murder hornets being thrown through your window and it being locked behind them.
Yep.
The medium weight build, for those who don't know how to min-max, and the heavyweight brick. The heavyweight borderline doesn't move, but has more armor than a nuke bunker and can carry more firepower than most battleships. It's basically a Gustav gun that doesn't need tracks.
I am, however.
Beyond those, you have differing leg choice. From bipedal to track to reverse knee and even a quadruped, there is truly something for everybody. I like the wheelchair because I know for a fact that 621 needs it, especially with the number of times I've killed him. After looking in the shop and buying your upgrades, you can move forward to redder pastures by taking the artillery job. This job is offered by the Balaam Group, the other major corp on planet, through their affiliate Dafeng. If you took a look at that heavyweight AC pick I dropped, you may recognize that name. They want to take out, well, artillery pieces. I won't lie. At first, this mission is kind of a joke. The artillery placements seem like they were put there by a blindfolded man chucking darts at a map. But the later half can easily see you getting sniped across the map by a 155mm howitzer. Those bunker-busting bastards can shred your AC like a paper boat getting hit with a hydrogen bomb. In other words, dodge! Oh, and I almost forgot my favorite group. The Rubicon Liberation Front. Basically a cult/separatist group who want to kick every other person off Rubicon and claim it for their own. They're kind of like Al-Qaeda if Al-Qaeda had mediocre leadership, more resources, and a certain lack of suicide bombers. They seem to get the short end of the stick most of the time. Like a third world country that has oil, they get bullied into a corner until they capitulate to a larger nation or state with more money. But I think that's enough for now. If you want to see the whole game, I would say buy it for yourself or check out my past live streams. I have a whole playthrough that I did on stream. Also check out my Twitch at twitch.tv/modusmortem to see if I'm live. I stream most weekdays from about 3 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Also, like the desperate crack fiend mewling for your approval I am, I'd ask you to like, sub, and maybe drop a follow. This game's good. FromSoft made a good game.